Hey everybody, I'd figure I'd make a little video of tell you a story of how Dustin and I went to Idaho. This is a true story, bold statement. It's on my Facebook page, and if you ask him, he will say it never happened. It did. It happened. Bold as I stand as a witness that this actually did happen. So, okay, so a couple years ago, there's a friend of mine that's in the Navi pageant that I didn't know nothing about. I didn't know her, didn't talk to her or anything until I met her at the Navi pageant. Her name is Taryn, and didn't think nothing of it. She is a choir director, and really good friend, really great friend. Um, I haven't even seen her in 2 years. We haven't talked in for 2 years or anything like that. And when I was out there and at out there in I'd probably say Provo, I think it was, or yeah, she showed Dustin and I around the town of Provo. We went to the MTC. We went to the Provo Temple, Provo City Temple, and we talked at this park for almost, I'd probably say about 2.5 hours, and it was a great time. I mean, I don't regret it. It just it made things fell into perspective. It made things a little bit better. It made me forget about what happened in the past, whatever. But what happened in the past stays in the past. But I'm not looking at the past. I'm moving forward. So, but anyways, back to the story. What how we ended up in Idaho. This is so. Anyways, we were so energized because we just got done seeing Taryn. We haven't seen her for 2 years. Um, so, anyways, Dustin's like, "Sure, let's go see Daniel. Let's go see Iron Man 3." I'm like, "Okay, sure, yeah, let's go see Iron Man 3." And I was like, "Oh, I'd probably say, uh, hmm, I'd probably say about 11:30 almost, about 10:30, yeah, about 10:30 ish." Um, so, anyways, he asked me. He's like, "Okay, Daniel, let's go see Iron Man 3." I'm like, "Okay." So we went there. We went to go see a midnight showing. Midnight, 12 in the morning in Utah. So we get there. We paid for our movie tickets, and there were still staff members working there. We walk in, but the only two people that were in the movie theater was Dustin and I. Just there was nobody else. We had the whole movie theater to ourselves. A great movie. Iron Man 3 is a great movie. I've heard bad reviews about it, but I don't see how it's a bad movie or anything like that. But it's a great movie. So, anyways, we walked out. The only two people that are left in the movie theater was some janitor people. They're cleaning the building. There's nobody else. Nobody else. It's just Dustin and I. I'm like, huh. That this is a weird moment. So I walk out. Dustin walks out like a few minutes later because he has to use the restroom. He comes out. He's all smiling and everything. He walks up to me. And he's like, "Hey, they should have gave us the keys because we could have locked up and everything. We could have slept here, but we didn't have no place to sleep, no place anywhere to sleep." So, but that's another story for another time. So, anyways, back to this story. He's hyped up. He's energized. He's like the energized bunny. And the reason why I say energized bunny, he had 5 Mountain Dews. Count them, 5. I already know what you're thinking, Dustin. You only had two. No, you had 5. You had 5 cans of Mountain Dew. You were energized. You were gone. So, of course, I'm driving. I'm driving the Jeep at this time. He rented a Jeep, so I'm driving the Jeep. So, he's like, "Okay, what do you want to do now?" I'm like, "I don't care." Because at this time, I'm thinking, okay, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to go and crash and whatnot. So, he's like, "Well, there's nothing else we could do, so what do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't care." He's like, "Well, How about we go to Idaho? I look at him. I'm like, what? What? Pause for a minute. I'm like, why? So, anyways, we we're sitting in the Jeep. I get the GPS, and there's a prophet. That's a cemetery out there. Ezra Tiff Benson. He's buried out there in Idaho, in Whitney County, Idaho. I think it's called that, or Whitney Cemetery, or something like that. So, anyways, we drive out there. I drive for like 2.5 hours. I'm dead tired. I'm beat. I let him drive the other two, and he drives the other two. We get to the cemetery. It's like 6 in the morning. The sun's not up. It's still dark. And we get to the cemetery on a farm. It's on a farm, and whatnot. So, anyways, we get there. We're just laying down. We pull our seats down. We're laying down, trying to go to sleep. He looks at me. He's like, "So are you gonna get out and look for the President Benson's grave?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm tired." So we waited for a few minutes, and he's like, "Daniel, are you gonna make me get out? You're gonna make me get out anyways." So I'm like, "Yeah." So we get out there. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. It's not rain or anything like that. It's nice that you can see, just to see the meld, the dew on the grass, and it's so dewy. The grass was so wet. We just went around. We walked around and went on. We walked around. Couldn't find it. We couldn't find it until I walked back to the Jeep. I walked back to the Jeep. I'm like, "Dustin, I remember something. Your brother left a flashlight in the van, in the Jeep." So I go out there, go back to the Jeep, get the flashlight. I walk back to the grave. We're looking for the grave, and I turn on the flashlight. I'm looking around. I'm shining the flashlight around, just trying to find the grave. And Dustin looks at me. He's like, "Dude, turn off the flashlight." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "They're probably going to think that we're grave robbers." Didn't think nothing of it. Just kept on shining the flashlight, kept on shining the flashlight. I finally turned it off until Dustin finally said something else again about it. So I turned it off. We're still trying to find him. He he finds one that says Benson. I go on the other side. I'm right underneath this tree, and I never want to be in a cemetery at night. I've learned my lesson. So, anyways, and it's real quiet. It's real quiet. I mean, like, you could just drop a pin. You won't hear nothing. So, anyways, we get there, and I'm walking around, quiet, and I'm right behind a tree. That's already blooming. It looks beautiful. And I'm looking around, and next thing I know, I hear like something like a little flappy noise, and it's birds. I got the dickens scared out of me. I dropped on the ground. I didn't know what it was. I hit the ground. I know I made up a few stories to say that Dustin was a scaredy cat was a scaredy cat person, but it wasn't him. He was on the other side of the cemetery. I was the one that dropped on the ground. Mm-mm. Cemeteries tonight. I'm done. I am done. No more cemeteries with me. You won't pay me enough to go to a cemetery. So the other part, we finally find him. We get the pictures. We got our pictures with the cemetery, and thus I kid you not, we bolted out of there. We got that out of there at that cemetery. We were gone. And Dustin drove. We burnt out. He drove. We were gone. We were gone. But that's kind of what happened. Excuse me. Just no more Mountain Dews for Dustin. I hereby ban him for Mountain Dews. Bold statement. 5 Mountain Dews is his limit. No more. No more Mountain Dews for you, Dustin. Okay? Okay. So, in case we all don't know, you haven't seen all the photos yet, Dustin and I been to all prophets, every single prophet graves, except for Joseph Smith. We've been to we already know where Joseph Smith's buried at. He's in Nauvoo, but we've been to all the prophets in Utah, Idaho. It's one of the crazy adventures I've ever done in my life. So that's the story of us going to Idaho. No more, no more Mountain Dew. Mm-mm. No more, no more.